Damage check. Front trigger. And since I have a Nova Grappler, I can add 5,000 power to my Vanguard. Hey everyone, this is Curb Knight, bringing you another Legacy match. Today we are going to finally be moving on into the next two sets of Vanguard, of course that being BT-3 and EB-3. So, I am actually going to be going up against my deck tester Orion. He's going to be on what else but Tachikaze, his one of his favorite clans in Premium. And of course, as for myself, gonna have to be playing some green here. Playing a deck I don't normally play, of course, that being Mega Colony. Now, Mega Colony is technically not really playable, as you will be seeing in this game. And you can clearly see by the fact that I had to call a Nova Grappler unit there. Yeah, at this point in time, Mega Colonies have exactly one trigger, that being a stand trigger that came out in the Extra Booster 3. Aside from that, they have like a handful of cards that you can play. Like, you could theoretically do it, but you do actually have to mix them with another clan. And, you know, what else to mix them with than Nova Grapplers? Because, you know, you get access to some counter charge, and a lot of the Mega Colony skills do require some counter blast, so being able to counter charge is pretty good there. So, we do see Orion going for a pretty sick play here, riding into that 11k base, retiring his Dragon Egg, and then using the counter blast to actually add the Dragon Egg back to the hand, calling the Skyterra behind the Vanguard. And then just another Mega Rex here. I'm going to be taking this first swing and then this swing at the Vanguard. Funnily enough, this 11k gets plus 2k, which I always thought was kind of funny because, you know, Brutal Jack is basically the same thing, except he gets 5k when he gets boosted. But yeah, anyways, going to be riding into the grade 2 and then calling out the Karma Queen to stun one of his rear guards. You see me going for the Mega Rex, but then I realized, wait a minute, that's kind of a bad idea, so I'm just going to go ahead and stun the Skyterra instead, and kind of prevent his Vanguard from being, you know, threatening, basically. Because in this format, putting a booster behind your Vanguard is probably the most threatening that you can actually get. As we're going to just swing the Vanguard for 15, barely hitting. Hit into a defensive here, so we're not actually going to be able to hit with this other column, which is only 12. Of course, I do need to keep that Lucky Girl on board, because in case you don't know, back in old Vanguard, you could only activate trigger effects if the trigger card was the exact same clan as one of the units you have on board. So if I want to activate anything other than a stand trigger, I do actually need to keep a Nova Grappler on board. Anyways, we do see Orion riding into that Tyrant Deathrex, which is, the more I think about it, this card is kind of insane. It's literally just like a 15k body, which at this point in Vanguard's history is obviously like kind of solid, like 15k swinging in. Normally, if there's an unboosted Vanguard, you can just throw down a 10k to make it 2 to pass. But this is a 15k body all on its own. Of course, it does get a little bit worse as, you know, we move into more 11k base Vanguards. But, you know, still, when you're going up against a 10k, it is still very good. Anyways, I do opt to just go ahead and take this attack. We do see a critical trigger being flipped there on the drive check, so I'm going to be eating 2 damage here. Tyrant Deathrex on hit skill is going to activate, forcing Orion to retire one of his rear guards. Going to be retiring that Skyterra and then just counter blasting 1 to add it back to his hand. I am once again here at 2 damage, so theoretically if I had another counter blast 2 card, I could, you know, do something with that. Pulling out the Mosquito and the Toxic Soldier, I believe it is, so he cannot intercept specifically that unit's attack. But I do actually end up riding into the Mega Colony Grade 3 that we play in this deck list, which is technically not your ideal ride target because you kind of, you play Mr. Invincible in this deck, and that's honestly your preferred ride target. As we're going to be swinging the 12k in at the Vanguard and guarding that with the Skyterra, and then swinging this other column. Now, the one good thing about this being my Vanguard is it does actually get another 3k when it is boosted here, so it is an 18k column. So, you know, that's actually like a decent number. I mean, 15 in this matchup, 15 is basically the same as 18. But, you know, if I was going up against an 11k base, this would actually matter. As I'm going to go ahead and drive check 2 times, hitting the 1 Mega Colony Stanter in the deck to restand the Karma Queen, hitting for 1 damage. I'm not going to get a defensive there. We're actually able to activate both of these skills, Soul Blasting the 3 in order to draw another card, and then I can activate the Mega Colony Battler. Is it C, I think? Yeah. I'm going to go and counterblast one, put it into the soul, and then stun that Tyrant Deathrex rear guard. Continue on the pressure, swinging that Karma Queen in at the Vanguard. Just going to be another 5k shield. But looks like we're just going to opt to take it, as we do have one final attack here. The 14, not really for a good number, but you know, looks like we're just going to commit that critical trigger there just to overguard it a little bit. So obviously we're not really going to be riding here. You know, you don't really re-ride in old Vanguard very often, unless, I don't know, unless you want to, I guess, unless you want to switch your Vanguard. But we've got a decent board here. We do have that Tyrant Deathrex, which is stunned. So currently on board, we've only got those 2 attacks, which is, you know, great for me, I guess. But it looks like we're actually going to be overcalling. Honestly, I think we probably should just move the Deathrex back. But looks like the reasoning for that is we're going to commit everything from hand, including that Tiger, which actually has a kind of insane skill for like early Vanguard. If it boosts a successful attack, it can actually soul charge one and put itself back to deck, which is kind of crazy. I think that might be the only crit, because like I know there's heals that do that, there's definitely stands that do that, but it's kind of insane to have like a crit that just goes back. Ryan swinging in here, getting a double trigger off the top, a draw into a stand trigger. So we're going to be going for 4 attacks this turn. Swinging in the what's it called? Yeah, what was that, Chaos Dragon something? I don't remember. It's the one that can superior ride itself, but you know, it almost never comes up. As we swing the other column for a 21, which even if I was on an 11k base, that would be a pretty nasty number. I'm going to be overcalling here, deciding where I want to overcall. I'm just going to go ahead and overcall the Karma Queen. You know, maybe in hindsight, it probably would have been better to just go over the Toxic Soldier, just because to make a better number, it would have been 16. Whereas both of these numbers are just swinging for like 5k guards. Gonna swing my Vanguard. Unfortunately, I don't have my booster anymore, so this is just a pathetic week 10. And then I remember, oh wait, I play stand triggers. So I'm going to swing the 14 first, swing the 10k, dropping the 10k shield for 2 to pass, getting nothing off the drive check there. So we just got one more 14k swing in the Vanguard. So things are looking pretty bad for me. I don't really have very much defense here. Thankfully, the attacks are not that great. That Vanguard is probably like the most threatening for a 19k. I'm going to have to 1 to pass it, and Orion gets it. But that is going to be the end of the match. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to do things, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.